Good evening, Mayor and Council. I hope you will grant me an additional 30 seconds to make a quick statement about a couple of accusations that have been made about me personally tonight. I will state for the record that John Williams has never been convicted of any crime ever. Not jaywalking, nothing. Those who made those accusations will be hearing from me. Let me tell you about some people that fully support the NCA with wilderness designation. Today, the City of Las Vegas, Henderson, Clark County, the Oahu Paiutes, the National Park Service, Nellis Air Force Base, the Naval Air Warfare Center, Mojave National Preserve, the Nevada Department of Energy, the Nevada Department of Wildlife, Nye County, the U.S. Forest Service, the Nevada Resort Association, who looks forward to increased ecotourism, 10 additional Indian tribes, the Western Recreation Association, over a dozen ORV and ATV associations, wildlife fire management, over 40 wildlife biologists, hydrologists, archaeologists, and geologists. How can you, in good faith, possibly determine that you know better than all of these people and organizations when it has been apparent during the past few weeks that you don't even really have a grasp on the real proposed legislation and what wilderness means and what is included in it? There is, however, no grazing for trespassing cattle allowed. I call on you to stop this ill-advised vote and the non-vetted resolution that I still have been able to get a straight answer on who even requested it and who wrote it, even though I've requested from all of you. The proposed legislation is backed up by over 1,300 pages. I have read it. It's obvious you haven't. I will be happy to provide copies for you. You should, before you have the audacity to withdraw the historical support for it. Of all these organizations mentioned, you will be the only one to withdraw your support. You can deny it all you want, but a vote to remove the city's support will be nationally perceived as another victory over the government by our friend Clive Bundy. And Mesquite will carry the stain for decades. Mr. Mayor, you have a city in crisis. I call on you to veto this ill-advised list. Damaging action should it pass. Thank you.
That would be an interesting advocate. The ACEC that you're proposing to cut is a beautiful part of Gold Butte, and I don't think you should cut it. I stopped for a few minutes at a couple of my friends' house, and one woman said, "What is council doing?" I said, "Oh, I don't know, what does council do?" Another woman said, another household said, "Do they understand what wilderness really is? It's a God-given right for people to have quiet spaces, and that we don't need to have engines and loud spaces in every quadrant of the planet." So those were two questions that come from people who I know and visit. So I'm asking for your support on conservation tonight, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
The majority of the council members expressed support for protections for Gold Butte. And I also heard two primary concerns as to why there might need to be changes. One of them was a concern that the proposed preservations might affect water rights that accrue to the city of Mesquite. The other was that some of the wilderness designations would limit access because wilderness by nature don't allow access by motorized vehicles. So let me deal with the wilderness first. I've looked at the maps of what's being proposed in terms of preservation, and the majority of the areas that are being proposed are currently not accessible by motorized vehicles. There may be some limited number of currently used roads that are in the proposed wilderness areas. If the council were to, instead of doing a blanket, asking for a blanket prohibition of wilderness, with the current resolution that appears to want to remove existing wilderness areas, But instead of taking that approach, if the council were to look at specific instances where the boundaries of the proposed wilderness do infringe upon currently used roads and make moderate modifications to these boundaries, then I think that the council could put itself in the position of being a proponent and looking like a collaborative partner in the process. On the issue of water rights, the draft resolution includes this language. Whereas water resources exist that are only accessible through the Gold Butte complex that may become necessary for the people of Mesquite and or the Virgin Valley and required access to and through the Gold Butte complex without interference by the federal government. My question for you is, do you really condition or intend to condition your support for preservations in Gold Butte on federal non-interference on federal lands? This language needs to be removed from whatever it is that you agreed to. It will only serve one function, and that is to alienate the BLM and alienate other federal authorities. Finally, in reading the currently proposed resolution, it became pretty obvious to me that the City Council now is considering radically reducing the size of the
Excuse me, sir.
Good evening. I am William Bird, a citizen of Mesquite, but just call me just plain Bill. Mayor Lippman and council members, I'm addressing something far more serious than the discussions we've had today of Gold Butte. And I say this respectfully in the interests of making a better government in the city of Mesquite. What I want to discuss is the process of how proposed resolution 867 was written. I believe that this process was improper, unethical, and perhaps illegal. By now, everyone who has been paying attention knows that proposed resolution 867 is significantly different from the instructions given to staff by City Council at the April 14th council meeting and again at the April 21st technical review meeting. The difference is between what the council desired at those open meetings and the resolution are so extreme that they were obviously made deliberately and not by error. The will of the City Council was either changed by staff in willful violation of council's direction, or else part or all of the council caused radical changes to be made outside of a public meeting and outside the view of a highly interested public. I can think of three ways that this could have happened and appropriate actions. If Mr. Sweden and or other staff made the changes without direction, he or they should resign or be fired for either incompetence, insubordination, or malfeasance. They did not, if they did it on their own without council direction, they don't belong in city government. If one or two council members went to staff and caused these changes to be made, then those one or two council members should resign for improper and unethical behavior of bullying against the majority will of the council. That is serious. You can't have council members causing things to happen outside of council meetings. Now, if 3 or more council members agreed on the changes, that would constitute a majority of the council and maybe the will of the council. But these three or more would be breaking the open meeting law because they were causing something to be done, an important thing, outside of an open meeting, and they should resign for violating the open meeting law before there are other complaints filed legally. Mr. Mayor, I request and expect you.
Can you say that for the last?
I have 1 sentence to go, please. Mr. Mayor, I expect you to determine who caused these changes to be made and seek resignations from these people. Thank you for listening.
Gloria George, and I've been a resident of Mesquite for 15 years. And I'm so glad that somebody finally noticed that some of the older people, people of all ages, love to go to Gold Butte to do things. Guess what we like to do? Instead of going out to a restaurant for Christmas, or not Christmas, it's a little cold that time, but for Easter or big holidays when the weather permits, we put our sandwiches together and we go out. We find a nice white spot in the road and we love it. And I think if we had to walk there, we wouldn't even leave home. So I think it's very important that what you're doing is wonderful. And if it needs a few changes, I'm sure you'll know what to do. But if it's not, we need to have access to the beautiful area that is Gold Butte. And you can't do it if you get to be this kind of an age. You need to be able to get there in wheels. So, thank you.
Evening, City Council, Art Pareda, City of Mesquite. I've been up here several times, but one of the concerns that I have, and I'm here for, and I've said it before, that the Bureau of Land Management is an organization to manage, maintain, and protect. And I have worked with them. A little bit of my background and experience in California, I worked with the Orange County Board of Supervisors in the development of all of Orange County. I lived in Corona, city in Corona in 1974 when it had a population of 31,000. It now has a population of 300,000. Mesquite may not have that potential, but there's growth that is taking place. You have to consider not what's going to happen tomorrow, in a year. I made comments to the Board of Supervisors, written comments. I was with the fire department then. Comments on developments that we're going to develop 150, 200 years from now. I'm going to be long gone and dead and pushing daisies, and all of you will also after you make these decisions. And we have to realize that, again, we need to protect this land. Okay, because the development is here, the potential is here. The city of Mesquite is a beautiful master plan community. It's not a Hooterville. It's not a Mayberry. The potential of growth is incredible. So when you start getting people in here, they're going to start visiting the areas. And that's why we need to protect it. That's why we need to protect. I see what you're proposing. You're proposing you want a no wilderness area and you want to keep the roads open. It's like putting a fence without the chicken wire. Why even make that proposal? You have to live with what you are going to vote for. Not for next week, but for 100 years from today. So our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren can enjoy this. Let's not be we got to protect it. We need to protect it. The Bureau of Land Management has a master plan for the entire United States, and we are within that master plan. We need to work with them. They're a great organization. I work with them, and the entire state of California is working with them, and we're good. Thank you.
Mike McGrair, I've been here 9 years. I want to thank you for recognizing the National Conservation Area designation. Whether or not the Bureau of Land Management or the federal government has constitutional rights over that area has no place in this particular debate. You've already said you recognize the NCA. The problem is with the resolution as it currently stands, there are some additions to that that are a surprise. How did they ever come about? What about this cut that, I don't even know where that came about, but people haven't even had a right to discuss some of this. So I beg you to reject the resolution as it's currently written. I want to deal with a couple of really important issues. The idea of a wilderness area is primarily to protect the watersheds, the animals, and so on and so forth. The idea about eliminating roads is nonsense. if you read the legislation, all of the roads that are currently under the ACEC designation remain. So people will have the right to go out there. We're only talking about the wilderness designation. There seems to be two concerns about wilderness designation. One has to do with water. Well, let me remind you that the wilderness watershed includes the groundwater recharge to the Lower Virgin River groundwater basin. It goes through the Muddy Creek fault formation, where the majority of all of us get our water. Now, you don't want to disrupt that. If you remember your 5th grade science, you'll know about water, convection, how it comes, how it goes, how it feeds these basins. That's the first issue. It's an important conservation of water as well as animals. The second thing is about this traffic business. As I said, the ACEC designation already provides for roads. There are no roads in the area that is designated wilderness. Well, in any event, what are we talking about here? All we're talking about is protecting area that already is protected. We're talking about allowing roads that are already allowed. We're talking about protecting our water. Now, what is so wrong about that? You need to reconsider this whole resolution. I don't know who wrote that, but we're going to ask and find out who wrote that. It's a terribly embarrassing document, and you people should all be ashamed that this document was presented to this particular council when many of you probably haven't even seen it. And if you have seen it, where was the open meeting? Thank you.
I'm Vaughn Cruder. I live in Mesquite, Nevada for 5 years. And I'm a wilderness person. I think it's wonderful that all of these wonderful citizens are taking part in their government and coming here, even the ones I don't agree with. I think it's a tremendous thing that we're filled up tonight with citizens who care about what's going on. And so thank you for listening. So many people have said the same things that I think that I'm going to keep it short. I don't know what in the heck you're doing. Inquiring minds want to know what you're up to, and that's the truth. Why the decision to eliminate half of the Gold Butte? The roads are there. The water is not affected by the wilderness. That's just not true. So there's another agenda, and please, all of you, we would like to know, inquiring minds. We don't know what you're up to, so you need to let us know. Thank you.
My name is John Amundsen, citizen of Toyota. Been listening to this for a good little while. Been coming here since about '63, off and on. I did take a little bit of a hiatus, but I want to tell you a tale of 2 cities with the first letter M. Recently, my wife came out again to spend some time with me. She's not a full-timer yet. And we went hiking and camping and had a great time in another city that starts with M. And as it was over with, the snow coming in, we had to modify a little bit. We were driving out towards the end. And this town just wasn't a town really until the uranium hit in the 50s. And as we were leaving town, I noticed off on the left-hand side something called Ultra. And my wife is very good on the computers. And I said, what the heck is that? We've been watching this for about 15 years, and the dirt keeps on getting higher. They're building something. It's a Department of Energy. What in the world are they building? It is a $25 billion correction of an error that was made back in the uranium days. They're hauling off about 40 boxcars of dirt every day. And if it wasn't so, Moab wouldn't have any water to drink. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about water here. That's my main concern, water and being able to meander around a little bit. But I want to, there's extremes going on here. I want to see some balance. Get it in the focus on the long haul. If the Department of Energy and $25 billion didn't come in, Moab would be hurt. What Moab is living off of right now is hiking and tourist trade, big time. Now they got a little bit more to look at than we do, but there is a potential for the long haul with Gold Butte. Something's going to happen there. I was in Vegas a while ago when they were doing some talking about it, and the one thing that struck my fancy was the Department of Interior, not the Department of Energy or BLM or anything like that. DOI was there. and those people can shake and bake. I suggest that we keep the pool open, let them know that we're willing to receive some help from them in case we need it on down the road too. I hope we don't, but there might be stuff out there we don't know about. Thank you.
Council, I've been here before, I was up there the last time. I appreciate what you're trying to accomplish. I think...
State your name, please.
Oh, I'm Jay Tolber. I've lived here 66 years. I'd just like to tell you a story about areas that they've made wilderness since I've been living here. I used to, when I was young and early married, we'd go up here on Hancock Peak, which is now a wilderness area. There's a road that goes across the top of it. Most people don't even know it's there. And we'd go watch the 4th of July fireworks from up there under a big ponderosa pine. We did it for 2 or 3 years. It was beautiful. Camped overnight, had a great time. Can't do that anymore. These people that want more wilderness, I think they're getting a little greedy. If you point in any direction, you got wilderness this way, wilderness that way, wilderness out here on the morning beat. Now they want to make all of this wilderness. Where does it all stop? We're building walls all around us. The Friends of Gold Butte's idea is for you to go over here to the community center, watch a few videos on Gold Butte. They'll show you some pictures of some animals. Go back home and lay down on the couch, and you're done. I like to go out, man. I think they need to, like the Overton Trails, they've left a little place over there for people to ride. Gold Butte would be a perfect place. I think right now, I was watching TV here the other day, and they said the United States has 4.5 million federal employees. Well, I submit to you guys that we don't need more control over what we do. I think we need less. I just want to thank you. I think you need to address what you got before you tonight. Appreciate it.
Mike Young, resident of Mesquite, speaking as a private citizen. I don't care what Nye County thinks. I don't care what Nellis Air Force Base thinks. I care what citizens of Mesquite think. The people who live here and have enjoyed the country around here. I like the previous speaker, getting up in age. I'm not going to hike across the desert. I can't do that anymore. I need to drive in, but I enjoy going in, having a picnic, and really enjoying the country. Access is part of it. I don't trust the Bureau of Reclamation. I've dealt with them for many years in California, and they want to protect everything by closing everything. That's not the way it should be. We're citizens here in Mesquite, and I believe we should have access to the land around Mesquite. All people should have that access. A few people who want to close it off, I don't think that's the will of the people, and I think, and I appreciate the City Council considering a new look at things. You've all been elected newly, essentially, almost, and looking at this again and saying, hey, let's take another look at it. I think it's a very, very wise thing. And I certainly urge to keep the land open so people can enjoy it, whatever their age, whatever their interests are. Thank you.
Council, my name is Elaine Hurd. I'm a resident of Mesquite. It is my opinion that it is irresponsible of the City Council to align Mesquite with Bunkerville and Clive and Bundy over Gold Butte's proposed status as a national conservation area with wilderness. Perception is reality, and this is the message you are sending despite your protestations to the contrary. This is precisely why the federal government needs to manage our public lands. Gold Butte does not belong to Mesquite or Bunkerville or any self-serving interests of any local people. No one here controls that land. Mesquite is a gateway city that relies on tourists. Gold Butte is a tourist attraction. In the new chamber video, it is prominently displayed as such. Any other community would love to have a tourist attraction like Gold Butte at its doorstep. And organizations like the Nevada Resort Association are ready to market it for ecotourism, hiking, camping, and such, which will only benefit Mesquite economically. Previous city councils have affirmed 3 times that Mesquite supports National Conservation Area with Wilderness. I will remind Councilman Withelder and Mayor Littman that you voted in support of it in the past. Why now did this become important? Whose agenda are you promoting? It should not be Cliven Bundy's, because he is losing his argument in Carson City. And we do not want him to have Mesquite as a with a face-saving gesture like a yes vote on a new watered-down resolution tonight. I was at Tuesday's technical review meeting, and you all agreed to minor changes to the language of what was presented at that meeting, then walked away and radically changed the new resolution behind closed doors, cutting the NCA area in half, declaring that motorized vehicles can go anywhere at any time in any place at Gold Butte, demanding that roads be open within 24 hours if washed out. It is arrogant of this council to pretend to know better than all of the experts, such as biologists, ecologists, civil engineers, land managers, and the like. By your statements, you've shown that you don't even fully understand the definition of wilderness. I can't say that I do, but I'm hearing false information on each side. This resolution carries no legal weight. It is a statement of support or no support. That is all it is. I ask that council vote no on this poorly worded new resolution and keep the old resolutions in place. Mayor Littman, if Resolution 867 passes tonight, I ask that you veto it to show the county, the state, and the federal government that Mesquite is not Bunkerville and does not stand with Cliven Bundy. Thank you.
As Adam Leverins, I want to commend the council for the last general meeting. Everybody was in support of a national conservation area, as it was reflected in the vote. And as some of the previous speakers have said, I think maybe there are some misconceptions on wilderness. And the maps, I can't claim to be an authority on Gold Butte. I've spent time out there and I like what I see. I've spent time in wilderness areas in many other states. That's what draws me to places in a lot of respects, and has me come and spend money in places. And the maps I've seen for the federal legislation before Congress show little segments that are designated wilderness area. And what I'm hearing talked about is that it's going to get closed off. Nobody can go there. The maps don't reflect closing off everything. As the previous speakers have mentioned, 500 miles plus of roads will remain open. The wilderness areas that I see on the map look like they're designated in places where there is not access for fuel vehicles presently. So nobody's losing anything. Also, I lived in the Pacific Northwest for about 12 years. Last several years I started tracking the amount of rain. It rained over 100 inches a year where I lived. That's what made around here more appealing in many ways. And even there, we had a small rural water district, no fluoride in the water, just mountain water, but water disbursements from things like WD-40 would get in the water. And a drop of oil, I can't quote this specifically, but I've read that it contaminates like 1 million gallons of water. That sounds kind of crazy, but it's something I read probably online, so it must be true. But if you've got wilderness, and that's part of a watershed, that's protecting that watershed. I've heard that the water rights are not going to go away. I haven't read the law, I can't speak to that. But a wilderness area is beneficial to a watershed. If you've got wilderness in a roadless area, nothing's changing, and you should be able to take and look at the maps and you yourself decide if you're going to get rid of the previous resolutions, make a new resolution that would have wilderness as appropriate. So you get an ATV out there, tips over gasoline, that goes into the water, you're hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself. And if you're using wilderness designation for areas that nobody can get to anyway, you're not harming anyone. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Bunker. I'm just representing myself here. I spend a bit of time outdoors. Go to Moab quite a bit. In Moab, I'm able to recreate in motorized vehicles, all over. I'm also able to hike, to ride a bike. I've done all those things there, and I enjoy doing them there. I like the idea of keeping all of your options open and less restriction, being able to take the land and do what we want to do with it in the area. In Moab, I mean, there's thousands of people go there, and they, you can look at it and say, well, you're going to tear it all up. After a good rain, you can't really tell that anybody's been there. In fact, I've been out on those trails in the rain, and you can't find the trail. We'll get lost. I recognize that won't happen everywhere here. It's not the same, and it needs to be governed, and we govern it. People take pride in their land and want to keep it looking good. Anyway, there is a lot of things that can be done over here. People talk about going hiking over on the Bunker Mountain. I hike over here. Seems like most of the hikes I'm hearing about from this group are, up canyons with roads, Cabin Canyon and these areas. There's tons of roads, I don't know, dozens anyway, of other canyons that go up there that are beautiful places that, I don't know if these people don't go there or not, but you can't take a car up in there. You can't take a bike up, a motorcycle or anything up in there. So there's those areas there for everybody. I don't think we need to change things. Anyways, I hope that we'll keep our options open as much as possible. And it sounds to me like this resolution and that you're entertaining is a step in that direction, and that whatever this council does would keep our options open. Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, my name is Charlie Loomis. I live in Mesquite, and I received a lot of emails and phone calls about coming to the council meeting tonight to protect Gold Butte. I said, wait a minute, protect Gold Butte at the city council meeting? Oh yeah, we got to protect it from the city council. That's it. That's all I hear. That's a perception out there, whether you folks like it or not. That's the perception. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Estelle Haven, and I've lived here 18 years. And tonight I've heard a lot about protecting the wilderness, but I think we should be more worried about protecting our rights as citizens of the United States. And something I've learned, maybe I'm wrong because I'm only 18, but something I've learned is that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if we want to go out and explore Gold Butte, I don't think anyone here is allowed to, that we shouldn't be able to do that, because that's our right, our pursuit of happiness. And I think our pursuit of happiness is more important than the wilderness and plants and animals. So I think we should respect them, but I don't think we should make all these changes to protect them, because I think our rights are more important than making a wilderness area. Thank you.
My name is Chris Rever. I'm a lifelong resident of Mesquite. I live on 1010 Levitt Lane. Proud grandson of Roy Sutton, proud son of Larry Rever, proud twin of Kyle Rever. And I'm up here today, and I'm going to share with you 12 words that scared the crud out of me. Hello, I am from the government, and I'm here to help. Now, time and time again, we give up our own rights to somebody else to tell them to govern us. So another quote I really like is, a government that is strong enough to give you everything you have, or everything you need, is strong enough to take everything you have away. We are freely giving up our right to govern ourselves, to govern our land, to enjoy it. I've been going out there since I was a very young boy. We have been taught, and our heritage is to leave it better than you found it. I spent countless hours picking up shells, picking up trash, leaving it better than I found it. And I don't believe that anybody else has the right to tell me that I have to stay off that land. Now, we are throwing away, everybody as a whole, our right to go out there because a handful of people decide that they can't take it upon themselves to take care of it. Another thing that I'd like to bring to view is that my generation, I'm going to be bringing my kids out there. If I don't bring my kids out there, then what heritage is Gold Butte? Who's going to go out there? I'm going to get older and I'm going to die. My kids are never going to hear about Gold Butte if it's shut off and made to where we can't access it. Ultimately, this whole debate is going to be a waste because it's all going to be washed over in the sands of time. It's all going to be long lost and forgotten. So I'm just here, and my plea is that everybody hears that we take it upon ourselves to manage our own land. We take it upon ourselves as human beings to enjoy God's creation and leave it like the Master has made it, so that we can all enjoy it. Now, I'm not saying that we all go out there and ride off the roads and tear the crap out of it. I'm saying that we go out there in a respectful manner and be civilized human beings. We can all enjoy it. Motorcyclists, four-wheeler, off-roaders, or not off-roaders, but ATV clubs can go out there and enjoy it the same as people on horses, the same as people hiking. And that's my plea with y'all.
You guys have my sympathies. I'm Steve Wall, and I'm a resident of Mesquite. You do this all the time. When I first came here, somebody asked me if I played golf, and I told them no. They asked me if I gambled, and I said, no, I don't do that. He said, brother, you better get yourself a library card. There really is not much diversity here, and Gold Butte is one of those things. I don't know why everybody considers protecting Gold Butte as a prohibition of any sort. It's just trying to save what we have left. There's no question in my mind that that place is being overgrazed. And I wouldn't have noticed that except that I saw a place along the route to Gold Butte that had been fenced off, prohibiting cattle access. And I didn't know that kind of luxuriant foliage grew in the desert, but it was pretty astounding. I consider cattle as a biological Roomba that just goes around devouring everything. It's an equal opportunity consumer, but it will eat anything that it can, and it turns it into, what do you call it, cow poop? The carcasses of the living things that used to be are now cow poop, which is evidently got a lot of value, but I'm not in my books. I like the living things. So I urge you to protect what we've got left and consider that. Thank you very much.
Dale Tobler, 691 Valley View. Just so everybody knows, I don't know if you can see that, but the red is the proposed wilderness. The blue is what's existing. Council, you've probably seen this. Okay, there's 200 and something thousand acres of proposing. The whole backside of Virgin Peak is going to be wilderness. There are existing roads that come down off of that mountain.
Mr. Tobler, could you please address us?
Okay,
rather than
there's roads that have been there for eons, and now they're closing them down. We were part of PIC that we went out and we rode those roads with GPS, and we went everywhere there was a road. It turned around and bit us right in the rear end. They've closed a bunch of them out there. You can't go from Crazy Ed's anymore down to Hell's Kitchen. It's all closed off. I could name hundreds of roads out there that are closed off already. They already have put up fences. You can't do the circle from the Whitney Pockets back down around through Bitter Springs and back up. It used to be a nice circle. You could unload at Whitney Pockets, do the circle, and come right back to your truck. They don't want you doing circles. They're closing it all off. They put up cables and everything else out there. And we haven't even declared it a wilderness area yet, but they've made it one already. This shows you what they're trying to do. And it's all right in front of us, right here. I say, keep going in the direction you're going and let's open this thing back up. Thank you.